I've never been afraid of Christmas. Even after what happened, I still wouldn't say I'm afraid of the holiday itself. But every year, when December 25th comes around, I make sure I'm not alone after dark. This happened 3 years ago when I was living in a small town in the northern part of England, the kind of place where Christmas feels quieter than it should. No traffic, no crowds, just long stretches of road, snow that never fully melts, and houses sitting far apart like they're trying not to notice each other. I was 26 at the time, working night shifts at a warehouse outside town. Because of the holidays, our schedule changed, and I ended up getting Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off for the first time in years. I didn't have family nearby, no real plans, so I decided to do something simple. Stay home, cook something decent, and just enjoy the quiet. That turned out to be a mistake.
Christmas Eve was normal, cold, silent, and empty. By the time it got dark, around 4:30 p.m., the streets were already dead. A few houses had lights on, a couple of inflatable Santas slowly deflating in front yards, their motors humming weakly. I remember thinking how wrong it felt that everything was so still. At around 8 p.m., it started snowing. Not heavy, just enough to soften the sound of everything. That's when I heard the first knock. 3 slow knocks on my front door. Not loud, not urgent, just patient. I assumed it was a neighbor, maybe someone needing help. I checked the peephole. No one was there. I opened the door anyway. The porch was empty, no footprints in the fresh snow. That should have been my first warning. I closed the door, locked it, and told myself it was probably kids messing around. But something about the lack of footprints bothered me. Snow doesn't lie. An hour later, I heard it again. This time, the knock came from the back door. Same rhythm, 3 slow knocks. I didn't go near it. I stood in my kitchen, listening, heart beating just hard enough for me to notice it. The knocking didn't repeat, it just stopped. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls. It was 9:14 p.m. That's when I heard something else. Footsteps. Slow ones, crunching lightly in the snow. They moved from the back of the house toward the side, then stopped. I turned off the kitchen light and looked out the window. At first I couldn't see anything. Then I noticed the shape. Someone was standing just outside the glow of the streetlight, too far to see their face, too still to look natural. They weren't wearing a coat, I remember that clearly, just a dark sweater and what looked like a red scarf hanging loosely around their neck. We stood there like that for maybe 10 seconds. Then they took one step forward and another, straight toward my window. I ducked down immediately. I don't know how long I stayed there, crouched below the counter, barely breathing. When I finally looked again, they were gone. I didn't sleep that night. Christmas morning came quietly. No knocks, no footsteps, nothing. I convinced myself it had been my imagination. Loneliness. Too much quiet. Too much caffeine. By evening, I was almost embarrassed by how scared I'd been. That confidence lasted until around 7 p.m. That's when my doorbell rang. Not knocked, rang. I checked the peephole. There was a man standing on my porch. He looked normal, middle-aged, thin, pale. He was smiling, but not in a friendly way. In his hands, he was holding a wrapped Christmas present, red paper, green ribbon. He rang the bell again. I opened the door just a crack. "Can I help you?" I asked. He looked directly into my eyes and said, "You didn't open it last night." My stomach dropped. "I think you have the wrong house," I said. He tilted his head slightly. "No," he replied.
"This is the right one." He held the gift closer to the door. "It's rude to leave someone outside on Christmas," he added. I shut the door and locked it immediately. He didn't knock after that. He didn't ring the bell. Instead, I heard the sound of paper tearing, slowly, deliberately. I backed away, phone in my hand, shaking as I called the police. While the phone rang, I heard something slide across the porch, something scraping lightly against the wood. Then came 3 knocks. This time, they were right against the door, harder than before, angrier. The operator picked up. As I whispered my address, I heard his voice through the door, soft, calm. "I left it there," he said. "Open it." The police arrived 10 minutes later. The man was gone. On my porch was the gift, unwrapped. Inside was a single item, a photograph. It was my house, taken from across the street, at night, with the lights on. On the back, written in shaky handwriting were the words, "You look better when you answer." I moved 2 months later. The police never found him. But every Christmas since then, someone leaves a present outside my door. Different wrapping paper, same red ribbon. I never open them, and I never stay home alone on Christmas night.